Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining this morning. Shri Bhaktam class and attentive japa. Hope you can hear me okay. Voice is coming loud and clear. I know there's some issues earlier, but I hope this is okay. And we're going to make a start. Thank you all very much. So, we've been talking about how Krishna is everything, and how is the cause of all causes. So Brahmaji has been explaining to Nadmani, his son, about all these things about Lord Krishna. So he's the cause of all causes, means that he is the cause of this spiritual world and of the material world as well. Not just the material world or just the spiritual world. He is the cause of everything. And then Brahmaji described the universal form of the Lord, explaining how all aspects of the universe are produced by different parts of the Lord's Virat Rup form. So this we will look at today. And the entire universe comes from the Lord's spiritual body as he lies on Garbhodaka, Daka ocean. From his 7 layers of skin arises 7 meters used to compose the Vedic hymns. His tongue generates the varieties of foodstuff offered to the gods, forefathers, and people in general. So it's like that. It's universal form, how he produces different things. From his nostrils come the 5 kinds of life airs. His smelling power generates the twin Ashwini Kumar gods, along with the medicinal herbs. His sense of smell also produces the earth element. From his breathing comes fragrance. His sense of sight produces foam and fire. And from his eyeballs, which glitter and illuminate, come the sun god and the heavenly planets. From his ears, which hear on all sides, comes the ability to receive Vedic knowledge, as well as the gods that govern the 10 directions. From his sense of hearing comes the sky and sound. So everything is connected with Lord Krishna. He whatever he does first, we do. He hears, then we hear. He sees, then we see. Everything is connected with him. So then Brahmaji goes on to explain the Lord's bodily hairs produce vegetation as well as trees required for Vedic sacrifice. Clouds come from his beard and head hair, and his powerful nails are the source of electricity, stones and iron ores. From the Virat Rup's arms are born the principal gods who protect the universe. The Lord's footsteps are the shelter of the worlds, and from his feet come protection from fear and the fulfillment of every need, and so on. So his feet are so important. His veins produce the rivers and his bones the mountains. So you get the picture how the Virat Rup works and how it manifests the material world or material creation. So let's do a quick prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpatam Hamande Shri Guru Deen Taranam Paramananda Madhvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivan Rotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Toto Jayam Udiriyat Nasta Prayeshav Abadireshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nishtiki. Okay. So everyone and everything within the universe, such as the planets, stars, and the numerous inhabitants of the different planet systems, are all within Vishnu's universal form at all times, past, present, and future. They always remain in the universal form, but he is transcendental, eternally existing as the super soul. So Narada Muni is asking, so how is it that everything rests on Vishnu and yet he sits in the hearts of all beings? It doesn't seem to make any sense. So Brahmaji explains that the Lord's impersonal Virat Rup sustains material existence just as the sun's brilliant rays sustain the universe. And as the sun god Surya remains a separate person with his own activities, so does Krishna remain separate. The Supreme Person enters everyone's heart as the Super Soul to maintain them from within, while simultaneously sustaining them from without in his universal form. So Krishna's glories are immeasurable and inconceivable, as we always say. So the Lord exists in our heart, and also the material universes exist in him. Doesn't that mean we associate with him in the material world as well? So that would make sense, that if the Lord is always with us and within and without, so then we already associate with him, aren't we? So why we need to go to the spiritual world to associate with him? So the thing is, the Lord is not attracted to this material world. He prefers his spiritual planets where he stays in his original form as Krishna and Narayan. Although for material creation he expands a part of himself as the three Purusha avatars who manifest the Virat Roop and the entire material creation and the Paramatma, he is personally aloof from the cosmos, just as the sun remains separate from other planets, staying in its orbit. Nevertheless, by means of its rays and heat, it permeates the entire universe. So Krishna associates with us here, not personally, but through his energies. So it's just like the sun associates with us here through his energy of rays, of heat and light. But the sun is far away. So similarly, Krishna does the same thing. So just as the sky cannot estimate its limits, similarly, even the Lord cannot estimate the limits of his greatness. What then can others know him? Even the Lord cannot estimate the limits of his greatness. What then can others know him? Amazing. Those who claim to understand him are inexperienced fools. Even Brahma and Shiva can know anything of the all blissful spiritual worlds where Krishna resides. In truth, we cannot even understand the material cosmos, which is but 1/4 of existence. So how are we going to know the spiritual world? There are countless Brahmas governing countless universes in the material creation. The material creation is practically limitless. We can know as much as the Lord reveals to us and no more. And that's all we should do. Just try to know how much he reveals to us. We shouldn't over endeavor to know Lord, because what he doesn't tell us, we don't need to know. So Srila Prabhupada explains, no one can understand the Lord by mental speculation. One simply comes to mistaken conclusions. Only the pure devotees whose senses are completely purified by devotional service can know him. Others who hanker for material enjoyment, mystic powers, or even to merge with the Lord's existence have distorted or incomplete understanding of him. Excuse me. No matter how great one may be, whether a human, demon, god, or whatever, he is simply a particle of Krishna's transcendental potency. So, the Supreme Personality Godhead, by his partial representation measuring not more than 9 inches, a supersoul, expands by his potency in the shape of the universal form, which includes everything manifested in different varieties of organic and inorganic materials. The manifested variety of the universe are therefore not different from the Lord, just as the golden ornaments of different shapes and forms are not different from the original stock reserve of gold. In other words, the Lord is the Supreme Person who controls everything within the creation, and still he remains the supreme separate identity, distinct from all manifested material creation. So in the Bhagavad-Gita, he is therefore said to be Yogeshwara. Everything rests on the potency of Lord Shri Krishna. And still the Lord is different from the transcendental to all such identities. In the Vedic Purusha Sukta of the Rig Ved mantra, this is also confirmed, which we are discussing today. This philosophical truth of simultaneous oneness and difference was propounded by the Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is known as Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. Brahma, Narad and all others are simultaneously one with the Lord and different from the Supreme Lord. We are all one with him, just as the gold ornaments are one in quality with the stock gold. The stock gold is never exhausted, even if there are innumerable ornaments emanating from the stock, because the stock is Puranam, complete. Even if Puranam is deducted from the Puranam, still the Supreme Puranam remains the same Puranam. This fact is inconceivable to our present imperfect senses. Lord Chaitanya therefore defined his theory of philosophy as achintya, inconceivable, and as confirmed in the Bhagavad-Gita as well as in the Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya's theory of chintya, Veda, Aveda, Tattva is a perfect philosophy of the absolute truth. So now we talk about the Purusha Sukta hymn. So what's that all about? So this hymn is recited in almost all Vedic rituals and ceremonies. So Purusha Sukta is a hymn in the Rig Veda and it's recited in most ceremonies. It is often used in the worship of Vishnu or Narayan in the temple installation and fire ceremonies. And the most commonly used portion of the Sukta contains 24 mantras, or also known as stanzas. The first mantras are designated as the Purav Narayan and the rest as the Uttara Narayan. The Purusha Sukta incorporates the principles of meditation, knowledge, devotion, and rituals and duties, which also means upasana, jnana, bhakti, dharma, and karma. This is why it is regarded and extensively used. So Purusha Sukta Purusha is obviously Lord Krishna or Narayan, and Sukta is the glories of Narayan, and this is what all this hymn is all about. So when we recite this hymn, first of all we say the peace invocation, which translates as: we worship and pray to the Supreme Lord for the welfare of all beings. May all miseries and shortcomings leave us forever, so that we may always sing for the Lord during the holy fire ceremonies. May all medicinal herbs grow in potency, so that all diseases may be cured. May the gods rain peace on us. May all the two-legged creatures be happy, and may all the four-legged creatures also be happy. May there be peace in the hearts of all beings in the realm. So that's the peace invocation. And then there's 24 stanzas. I will quickly go through them, just so you get the gist of the Purusha Sukta hymn. So in number 1, the Purusha, which is Supreme Being, has 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes, and 1,000 feet. He has enveloped this world from all sides and has transcended it by 10 angulars or inches. Om Sesra Shirsa Purusha. So this Sahasra Shirsa Purusha is also mentioned in the Narasimha Kavacham as well. Padavnarishwara Sahasra Shirsa Purusha Patume Sarvashtanam. So it's also mentioned in there. All this is verily the Purusha. All that which existed in the past or will come into being and the future is also the Purusha. Also he is the Lord of immortality, that which grows profusely by food is also the Purusha. So that was number 2. Number 3, so much is his greatness, however the Purusha is greater than this. All the beings from only a quarter part of him, the 3/4 part of his, which is eternal, is established in the spiritual domain. So it explains the material world and the spiritual world. And number 4, the Purusha with the 3/4 of his energy ascended above the spiritual energy, which is, and his 1/4 of material energy becomes his creation again and again. Then he pervades this universe, comprising a variety of sentient beings and insentient objects. 5, from him, Adi Purusha, original Supreme Being, was born, the Virat or Virat Purusha, the immense universal form, making this Virat as the substratum Purusha, or being a Brahma, was born. And as soon as he was born, he multiplied himself later. He created this earth and then the bodies of the living beings. So everything, the whole creation, everything is concentrated in this Purusha Sukta. Number 6, when the Devas, the demigods or beings of light, performed a yajna or sacrificial ritual using the Purusha as the havis or the sacrificial material for the yajna, the Vasant, which is the spring, became the Ajay, the ghee. The Grisham, the summer, served as the Idam, the piece of wood. So it's the whole, all the things of the yajna. And the Sharad, which is like the autumn, fill the place of Havis, oblatory material like the Purudash or rice cake. Number 7, for this yajna or spiritual ceremony, there were 7 paridis. So these are the fuel pieces serving as the borders of the yajna. And 21 items were made, the samit or sacrificial fuel sticks. When the devas were performing this yajna or ceremony, they tied the Purusha as the pashu, the sacrificial animal. The devas, the sadhyas, and the rishis performed the sacrifice by using the Purusha as the means of yajna. The Purusha who had been born in the beginning, after sprinkling him with water by the baris, which is the sacrificial grass. And from number 9, from that yajna, wherein the cosmic being was himself the oblation, was produced the prasajya, birds flying in the air, wild animals of the forest, or as also the domesticated animals of the village were also produced. So it's a quite complicated hymn, and it has to be understood, but somebody has to explain what it exactly means. So from that yajna, wherein the cosmic being was himself the oblation, were born the riks, that's the mantras of the Rig Veda, and the samans, the mantras of the Samved. From the yajna, the meters like Gayatri were born. From that yajna, the yujas, the Yujur Ved was born. And number 11, from that born the horses, also the animals, the donkeys and the mules, which have 2 rows of teeth. From that were born the cattle. From that again were born goats and sheep. Now, number 12, when the gods decided to mentally sacrifice the Virat Purusha and produce further creation, in how many ways did they do it? What became of his face or mouth? What became of his 2 arms? What became of his 2 thighs? What were the products of his 2 feet called? Then it's mentioned that from his face came the Brahmans, from his 2 arms came the Kshatriyas, from his thighs came the Vaishyas, and from his feet came the Shudras. 14, from his mind was born the moon, from his 2 eyes was born the sun, from his mouth were born Indra and Agni, from his breath was born the air, and from his navels produced the Antariksha, the space between the earth and the heavens. Dyuloka came into existence from his head, the Bhumi, the earth, evolved out of his feet, and Dik or spatial directions from his ears. Similarly, the demigods produced the worlds too. Number 16, I know the wise one who, having created the various forms and the nomenclatures, deals with them by those names, and who is beyond darkness and is brilliant like the sun. 17, in the ancient days, Prajapati praised him. Indra, who knows all the 4 quarters, also spoke about him. Anyone who knows him thus will become immortal even in this life. For attaining liberation, there is no other path than the knowledge of this Purusha, the Supreme Lord. And 18, the demigods worship the Supreme Creator through yajna. Those very processes became the primary dharmas, and those great ones attained the heavens where the ancient devas and sadhyas live. I'll just quickly finish the next 6. The Virat Purusha manifested himself from out of the all-pervading water as also the essence of the element of the earth. This Virat Purusha was born out of the greatness of the Param Purusha, the Creator. The Param Purusha, known as the Tvasta, engaged himself in the act of creating the 14 planetary systems, which form of the expanded figure of the Virat Purusha. The entire creation related to Virat Purusha came into existence in the very beginning of the creation. So there's 14 planetary systems. We got 6 above us. We are the 7th, and then there's 7th below us, the Patal Loks and everything. And there's the highest is obviously Brahmlok, and then they work their way down. There's Pitalok and other loks. So I have known that Guru, great Purusha, who is brilliant like the sun and who is beyond all darkness, one who knows him thus becomes immortal. There is no other path for liberation than this. 21. Prajapati moves inside the cosmic womb. Unborn, he takes birth in a variety of ways. The wise ones know his original nature of the universe. The secondary creators desire to attain the positions of Marichi and others. Obeisances unto him, the self-luminous Brahman, who shines for the demigods, who is the leader of the rituals of the gods and who was born even before the gods. In the beginning of the creation, the gods, manifesting the light of Brahman, addressed Brahman. That Brahman who realizes thus, all the gods will come under his control. O Purusha, the goddesses Hari and Shri. So Hari means modesty, and Shri, obviously we all know, is Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, are your consorts. Day and night are your lateral limbs. The stars are your form. The Ashwins are your widely open mouth. O Purusha, fulfill our desire for self-knowledge as also our desire for the enjoyments of this world, like longevity, cows and horses. Give us all that we need. Om, let there be peace, peace and peace. So obviously this is recited in Sanskrit at every yajna and the sacrifice, probably even now. To be honest, I had only just heard of this recently. I wasn't aware of the Purusha Sukta, but it's very interesting and it's very powerful and explains how everything manifested in the material world and explain everything about the Lord and how the spiritual world is 3 times greater than the material world, yet material world is limitless. There's like countless universes and countless planets, and yet we are just one little speck in our smallest universe. So it's amazing, it's an eye-opener, and it gives, I mean, Brahmaji is explaining all this to Narad Muni to build his faith even more and inspire him to go and preach to the creation. Brahmaji, Narad Muni could travel anywhere, he had that ability, he was given that power, and so Brahmaji is sort of inspiring him and empowering him to go and do that and go and preach and the knowledge, transcendental knowledge. So thank you all so much. I would love to welcome you all. Aradhya, he says here, Rukmini Mataji, Jai Prabhu, Parveen Mataji, Sarveshya Mataji, Sushil Prabhu, and Venkat Prabhu. So welcome to the class. I would love to hear your thoughts on this and how you find this. Thank you so much. And maybe we can start with Rukmini Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Jai. Mataji, I hope you were inspired by the Purusha Sukta hymn.
प्रभुजी ये सुनते सुनते प्रभुजी का glorifying the Lord, like we feel that we just go in trance and start meditating, nothing else, just go on hearing the glorification of Lord.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling. Nothing can beat to this glorification. We don't want to hear any other material things. Very interesting, very influence of Krishna.
Absolutely.
I loved it. Thank you, Prabhuji,
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah, nicely said. Exactly. It's when we hear such glories, it humbles us, and also how we worship icons like actors and sports people. We think they are greatest, they're everything. We die for them. We go crazy for them, and we become obsessed with them. But what are they compared to the Lord? When we start making the real comparison, then we realize that we are actually nothing. These icons are nothing. They're also puppets in the Lord's hands. If they're given a little speck of empowerment or some quality, that's all good. But it is nothing compared to the whole. We're just a little speck. Whatever we have is little speck of everything. Thank you.
Prabhuji, there is a one slok.
Yeah.
It is Asadgiri Samasyat Jalam Sindhu Patre Surataravarusha Lekhinim Patramurgi. लिखति यदि गृहीत्वा शारदा सर्वकालम तदपि तत् गुणानाम मीश पारम न याति। तो प्रभु जी ज्ञानी ज्ञानी पुरुष कहते हैं कि ये जो समुद्र है ना, ऑल ओशन, उसकी हम इंक बनाएंगे, वी मेक इंक, एंड जस्ट every branches of tree of the universe, उसकी हम कलम बनाएंगे।
Wow.
और फिर हम कृष्णा लॉर्ड कृष्णा, Mother Sharda start glorifying to Lord Krishna, even then it is not enough.
Yes, good point, good point.
अक्का समुद्र की इंक बनाएंगे, समुद्र के पानी की।
It just won't be
We'll
enough.
make ink, and the pen of the कलम, ये सब सारे जहाँ की सब डाढ़ी ब्रांचेस है, उसकी हम कलम बनाएंगे, पेन, and we start glorifying, but that is also not enough.
Yes.
Super soul.
Very good, very good. Thank you.
Very nice slok this. My mother used to recite, and then I also reciting every day.
Yeah, this is real poetry. This is real poetry. You know what poetry they make about you know about human beings. The poetry of the Lord is a real poetry, isn't it? And also, this Prabhupada mentions that if the scientists could count the number of atoms in the universe, it still would not be as many as the glorification of the Lord. You know, the glories of the Lord.
Yeah, we can't. Not enough. We cannot. We have not. We haven't got any capacity of glorifying.
Absolutely.
Lord.
Yeah, that's the thing. But we're not capable of being able to. Even Ananta Shesha he is with 1,000 mouths. You know, he's trying to glorify the Lord, and he's still going. So thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Jai Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Can I add something, Prabhu?
Sorry,
Could hear you.
oh yeah, right, okay. Oh yeah, that's somebody else. That's somebody else's name. Yeah. So to start off with the talking about the Virat Roop. So the Virat Purusha is more commonly known as the universal form of the Lord, which is mentioned in chapter 11 of the Bhagavad-Gita. So the body of the Lord is the complete whole, everything that that exists. So, and different parts of the universal form of the Lord are generating centers for different energies and different attributes that exist with living entities in the material world. So I'll just give you a few examples that you've mentioned as well. So the mouth is a generating center of the voice. Tongue is a productive center of different foodstuffs. Eyes are generating centers for forms. Lord's arms are productive fields for demigods. So the lotus feet serve as protection for all kinds of fear. So the absolute dependency on the lotus feet is pure devotional service. Everyone except the Lord himself is dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Even the all-pervading supersoul is dependent on the supreme aspect of Bhagwan. So you got the back of the Lord is a place for ignorance. So those who have a view of the Lord from the back realize from the front realize his personal features, whereas those who realize him from the back realize his impersonal features. Yes, so it's like these body parts of the Lord are the sources of energy, like just like electric, the source of electricity, it's from like wind turbines or coal or things like that. That's my understanding of it anyway. So I think then there's a discussion about spiritual material worlds. After total manifestation, only 1/4 is a material world. Spiritual world is 3/4 and exists beyond the coverings, beyond the high planets and beyond the coverings of the universe. Planets in a spiritual sky are transcendental and each of them are indestructible and free from limitations of the material. They're all self-simulating. So I mean, if you look at the purpose, there's descriptions, of inhabitants in the spiritual world are free from birth, death, old age, and diseases. They have full knowledge of everything. It says they have nothing to do except to render transcendental loving service to the Lord in the spiritual, and Narayan is a predominating deity in the vacant planets. Yes, and I think then he talked about the Virat Purusha hymn, yes, which is a rig from which is a hymn from the Rig Veda, and it's about 24 mantras. Yes, yeah, I didn't pick this hymn up from the reading I did last night, so yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely right. And yeah, I like the way how everything manifests from God. I mean, we say the sun and moon are the eyes of the Lord, or the mountains are the bones of the Lord, and the rivers are the veins of the Lord, and actually explains that yes, that's where all these things come from. That they're manifested from parts of the Lord, or his Virat Rupa, or that's what they are. They are the whole creation is the Virat Rupa of the Lord. So yeah, so very nice. So how can we not see the Lord everywhere? This is the other thing. We can see the Lord everywhere because everything is manifested from Him. So nice. Okay.
I've got a question for like the Brahma Jyoti is in impersonal form, and there's only one Brahma Jyoti. So the Virat Rupa, is there a one Virat Rupa per universe, or is there only one?
I would think because every universe has got its own Purushas. If you if you see every universe has got its own Brahma. So our universe has Brahma has 4 heads. The other universes, the Brahma has so many, kind of 5,000 heads even. So everywhere the universe will be different, be bigger. This is a small universe. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, they would have a separate Virat Rupa as far as I can work out. I haven't read anywhere, but for my deduction, because the Brahma is different, and you see if you ever see the pictures on a chart, you see the Garbhodakshay Vishnu is lying there. It's not just one falling. There's separate Garbhodakshay Vishnu lying there. So you just the expansions of the Lord. Every expansion, every universe is its own expansion, and so the Virat Rupa will be different in that universe to the one we have. And this is how I see it. I may be wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because every universe is different, and the Brahmas are different. Yeah. So the Garbhodaksha Vishnu lying on the causal ocean, the Brahma that sprouts from his from the new universe for the another universe apart from ours, the Brahma, like I said, will have different number of heads. So it's totally different ball game there. compared to ours. So this is a variety. This is what Krishna likes. He likes a lot of variety. So this is how I see it. That it would be all different. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, Praveen Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have got sore throat, Prabhuji. I will not speak. But all glories to the Lord.
Sorry to
And
hear.
I really liked Mataji ne wo jo bola shlok, so it will be nice
Yeah,
if
beautiful.
she can share. Yes. So I think there's nothing left to say after that.
Okay, no problem.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Yeah, Rukun Mata, if you would like to share that on our group, on the WhatsApp group, that would be brilliant. I think everybody love to read that. Thank you so much. And what else we have? We have Sarveshi Mataji.
Hare Krishna to everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Well, all what I can say is all the senses are produced by Lord's reservoir of senses. That means all the senses come from Krishna. Our senses get contaminated when it get contact with the material nature. But our sense activities can be purified by the process of devotional service and become spiritual by serving the Lord. So actually the senses are not are pure because Krishna has pure senses, so we got, but it get contaminated by the three mode of material nature. But if we use our senses to Krishna, then it can be purified. And all the demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Varuna, who are protecting the universal affairs of maintenance, are powerful part and parcel of Supreme Lord. They can't do on their own anything because they get the power of the Supreme Lord, the Purusha.
Sure.
Krishna is the father of all living entities who are placed in different higher and lower positions according to their desires. Because Krishna's Maya is so powerful that a person is misled by his illusionary. Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, Devi Hasya Gunmai Mamaya Dutya Mamao Epadante Maya Ekam Taranti Te. The divine energy of mind is consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. And the Supreme Lord is the reservoir of what material opulence. His energy consists of 1/4 of material world and 3/4 of spiritual world. We always anxious to have peace, but do not know how to obtain peace. Such peace can be obtained by, it says in Bhagavatam, by austerity and sacrifices. The best sacrifice in Kali Yuga is to chant the holy name of the Lord Mahamantra. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Kevalam. That will save us from repeated birth and death and peace. We want the peace, but we can't get the peace. But if we chant the mantra, we get the peace and we be happy. Prabhupada says repeated birth and death is like a Ferris wheel which goes up and down. So we have to stop this, our repeated birth and death, and then we got this Bhagavatam, Bhagavad-Gita, and Krishna is the way how to get rid of this birth and death and go to him. This one wonderful place which is Krishna Lord Vrindavan, and Brahma. He all describes in the Brahma Samhita, Chintamani Prakara Sanmasu Karvresha. It's so nice, all illuminated and everything so wonderful. You've got desire tree, everything there. But here in material world, we've got nothing. We've got only suffering. We are suffering and see other people suffering as well. That is making double suffering. So we really have to, I know my mind is very chanchal. We can't concentrate when we do puja. Sometimes I don't know how the mind goes. Yes, just go keep on thinking about something. It's very, very hard, but Krishna knows we are trying. So that says Krishna, we forget things, but Krishna never forgets. He will remember everything we do. So we have to make effort and try to please Krishna. And that's why he buys everything in this world, for facilities. So we can go back to Godhead, not to enjoy ourselves, but to wait for him to save him. Hare Krishna.
Jai, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, Prem Prakash Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam,
Back to you, Prabhuji. Dandasana.
Hare Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji. I mean, this one is really fascinating and so much engaging and interesting. I was just trying to understand that Lord has multifarious energy. That point was really interesting when it is said that Lord has so much multifarious energy and his potencies are so infinite that he himself doesn't know him. And that is because every moment it keeps on increasing. And then Prabhupada gives an example is that the love, just one example of Lord's beauty and Lord's love. The example is given that when gopis see Krishna is happy after serving them, their love increases. And because their love increases, Krishna's beauty increases. Um, and because there's beauty increases of Krishna, then Gopi feels more love towards Krishna, and Krishna's feel more love towards Gopi. So there is a transcendental competition that nobody can estimate, and the level of love. Love and beauty of Krishna, which keeps on increasing with the transcendental competition. So we are no one to actually we can't really compete. We can't really describe it. Everything is infinite, can't be described. Infinite means anant. And anant session, infinite, when actually tries to describe infinite for the infinite time, is not even able to describe one of the infinite uh, Leela of Krishna
Wow.
for infinite that is performed in one moment. So that is really interesting. And to be honest, I was just thinking that how is it possible? And then there was Guru Maharaj's lecture. He said that when Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Gauranga performed his Leela, each devotee who was present during that Leela has a different perception of the same pastime. They wanted to perceive it. It's not that they wanted to perceive it for mental concoction. It's that how Lord wanted them to perceive it for that particular moment was different. And to be honest, when we actually hear Leela, that Leela is ever manifesting, and that Leela is manifesting within our hearts, in our mind. And that Leela is perceived by us the way Lord wants us to perceive. So it keeps on going in for the infinite time. It keeps on going. It's never ending, and it will keep on going. So that is a way of like having a small perception of like how how big the Lord is and how infinite Leela he can perform with just one moment, which is everlasting, ever existing for infinite time. That infinite and Lord Ananta cannot even describe. So that's really interesting. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you, Ravi. That's brilliant realizations there. That is so good. Excellent. Yeah, and they say that the devotees serve Krishna, and then because Krishna's pleased and he wants to serve the devotees, and then the devotees are happy that Krishna, he pleases them, and then they serve him back. So there's like spiritual competition going on in serving each other. But in that spiritual competition, nobody ever wins because they're both outdoing each other. Like I say, it's infinite. It goes on and on and on. And this is what the spirituality or the spiritual world is all about. It just keeps increasing and increasing, whereas the material world, we are limited, and the material world is so limited. So we're in the wrong place. This is the conclusion.
Yes. But with the mercy of Guru Maharaj, we are able to touch something which is inconceivable and can't be touched by our own. So it's just mercy of Guru Maharaj and mercy of the will of Krishna that we are doing whatever we can.
Brilliant. Yeah, because we what we work out by mental concoction will always be useless. Will be always wrong. Has to be through the eyes of scriptures and Guru and Shastra, is very important, and Sadhu. Everything from there is perfect. What we make with our limited senses, our limited mind, is always going to be limited. We can't work out the unlimited from the limited, as you say. Because even the unlimited can't work out the unlimited. So how can the limited work out the unlimited?
Absolutely.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And
Thank you.
next week we will talk about the timely incarnations of the Lord. So we will go on to that. This is all glories of Lord Krishna. There's so much. The Bhagavatam is just full of nectar of the glories, and the more you read it, the more you understand it, the sweeter it becomes. And thanks to you all devotees that join in this program, that we are able to share ideas and realizations. It just makes it even more sweeter. Thank you so much. Rukmini Mataji, would you like to start a round? Jai. And let's now focus on a nice round for Lord Krishna Association.